we're going to provide a history bit to you called Cyrus, or probably more appropriate to say Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great. Cyrus was born between 590 and 580 BCE, either in Media or more probably in Persis, the modern Fars province of Iran, or what we would call ancient Persia. The meaning of his name is in dispute, for it is not known whether it was a personal name or a throne name given to him when he became a ruler. It is noteworthy that after the Achaemenid Empire, the name does not appear again in sources relating to Iran, which may indicate some special sense of the name. Most scholars agree, however, that Cyrus, or Cyrus, as most commonly accustomed to hearing his name pronounced, that Cyrus the Great was at least the second of the name to rule in Persia. One cuneiform text in Akkadian, the language of Mesopotamia, which is present-day Iraq, in the pre-Christian era, asserts he was the son of Cambyses, great king, king of Anshan, grandson of Cyrus, or Cyrus, great king, king of Anshan, descendant of Tiespes, great king, king of Anshan, of a family which always exercised kingship. And this particular statement that I have read comes from a cuneiform that has been translated from the Akkadian language. In any case, it is clear that Cyrus, or Cyrus, came from a long line of ruling chiefs. The most important source for his life is the Greek historian Herodotus. The idealized biography by Xenophon is a work for the edification of the Greeks concerning the ideal ruler, rather than a historical treatise. It does, however, indicate the high esteem in which Cyrus was held, not only by his own people, the Persians, but by the Greeks and others. Herodotus says that the Persians called Cyrus their father, while later Achaemenid rulers were not so well regarded. The story of the childhood of Cyrus, as told by Herodotus, with echoes in Xenophon, may be called a Cyrus or Cyrus legend, since it obviously follows a pattern of folk beliefs about the almost superhuman qualities of the founder of a dynasty. Similar beliefs also exist about the founders of later dynasties throughout the history of Iran. According to the legend, Astyages, the king of the Medes and overlord of the Persians, gave his daughter in marriage to his vassal in Persis, a prince called Cambyses. From this marriage, Cyrus, or Cyrus, was born. Astyages, having had a dream that the baby would grow up to overthrow him, ordered Cyrus, or Cyrus, to be slain. His chief advisor, however, instead gave the baby to a shepherd to raise when he was 10 years old. Cyrus, because of his outstanding qualities, was discovered by Astyages, who, in spite of the dream, was persuaded to allow the boy to live. Cyrus, when he reached manhood in Persis, revolted against his maternal grandfather and overlord. Astyages marched against the rebel, but his army deserted him and surrendered to Cyrus in 550 BCE. Cyrus's conquest. After inheriting the empire of the Medes, Cyrus first had to consolidate his power over Iranian tribes on the Iranian plateau before expanding to the west. Croesus, king of Lydia in Asia Minor, or at that time Anatolia, had enlarged his domains at the expense of the Medes when he heard of the fall of Astyages and Cyrus as successor of the Median king. Marched against Lydia. Sardis, the Lydian capital, was captured in 547 or 546 BCE, and Croesus was either killed or burned himself to death, though according to other sources, he was taken prisoner by Cyrus and well treated. The Ionian Greek cities on the Aegean seacoast, as vassals of the Lydian king, now became subject to Cyrus, and most of them submitted after short sieges. Several revolts of the Greek cities were later suppressed with severity. Next, Cyrus turned to Babylonia, where the dissatisfaction of the people with the ruler Nabonidus gave him a pretext for invading the lowlands. The conquest was quick, for even the priest of Marduk, the national deity of the great metropolis of Babylon, had become estranged from Nabonidus. In October 539 BCE, the great city of the ancient world fell to the Persians. In the Bible, particularly Ezra chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, Cyrus is famous for freeing the Jewish or the Judean Israelite captives in Babylonia and allowing them to return to their homeland. Cyrus was also tolerant toward the Babylonians and others. He conciliated local populations by supporting local customs and even sacrificing to local deities. The capture of Babylon delivered not only Mesopotamia into the hands of Cyrus, but also Syria and Palestine, which had been conquered previously by the Babylonians. The ruler of Cilicia in Asia Minor had become an ally of Cyrus when the latter marched against Croesus, and Cilicia retained a special status in Cyrus's empire. Thus, it was by diplomacy as well as force of arms that he established the largest empire known until his time. Cyrus seems to have had several capitals. One was the city of Ecbatana, modern Hamadan, former capital of the Medes, and another was a new capital of the empire, Pasargadae in Persis, said to be on the site where Cyrus had won the battle against Astyages. The ruins today, though few, arouse admiration in the visitor. Cyrus also kept Babylon as a winter capital. No Persian chauvinist, Cyrus was quick to learn from the conquered peoples. He not only conciliated the Medes, but united them with the Persians in a kind of dual monarchy of the Medes and Persians. Let me pause for a moment. Because Cyrus did this, this is one of the reasons why when you hear of this empire that it is often called the Medo-Persian Empire, because he linked them together to be basically having shared authority. Cyrus had to borrow the traditions of kingship from the Medes, who had ruled an empire when the Persians were merely their vassals. A Mede was probably made an advisor to the Achaemenian king as a sort of chief minister. On latter reliefs at Persepolis, a capital of the Achaemenian kings from the time of Darius, a Mede, is frequently depicted together with the great king. The Elamites, indigenous inhabitants of Persis, were also the teachers of the Persians in many ways, as can be seen, for example, in the Elamite dress worn by Persians and by Elamite objects carried by them on the stone reliefs at Persepolis. There also seems to have been little innovation in government and rule, but rather a willingness to borrow, combined with an ability to adapt what was borrowed to the new empire. Cyrus was undoubtedly the guiding genius in the creation not only of a great empire, but in the formation of Achaemenian culture and civilization. Little is known of the family of Cyrus. He had two sons, one of whom, Cambyses, succeeded him. The other, Bardiya, Smerdis of the Greeks, that's who that person is, who probably secretly put to death by Cambyses after he became ruler. Cyrus or Cyrus had at least one daughter, Atossa, who married her brother Cambyses, and possibly two others, but they played no role in history. When Cyrus or Cyrus defeated Astyages, he also inherited Median possessions in eastern Iran, but he had to engage in much warfare to consolidate his rule in this region. After his conquest of Babylonia, he again turned to the east, and Herodotus tells of his campaign against nomads living east of the Caspian Sea. According to the Greek historian, Cyrus was at first successful in defeating the ruler of the nomads. These people were called the Masagetai, who was a woman, and captured her son. On the son's committing suicide in captivity, his mother swore revenge and defeated and killed Cyrus. Herodotus' story may be apocryphal, but Cyrus's conquests in Central Asia were probably genuine, since a city in Far East Sogdiana was called Cyrus Katata, or Cyrus Kata, or Syropolis by the Greeks, which seems to prove the extent of his eastern conquest. This information I provided today in regards to this great king, Cyrus the Great, is to give each of you a general synopsis of the person, because this person, Cyrus the Great, did not just perform all of these great exploits by his own power and ingenuity, but as we look at what the scriptures declare to us, all of what he was able to do was according to the hand of our Elohim for the specific purposes that the Most High had for this person, whom is regarded as Cyrus the Great. The Most High be praised.